Is World Without End my favorite movie of all time? No, it isn't. But it might make a pretty good double bill with 1968's Planet of the Apes. Because what we have here is a tale of two movies. A Mars exploratory expedition gets hit with a time warp on their way back to Earth. In Planet of the Apes, an interstellar expedition is interrupted by a time warp. Okay, so far, familiar ground. And to make it even easier, let's call our two movies End World and Ape World. Think that'll work? Let's give it a try. In End World, using what appears to be footage from when worlds collide, our standard issue 50s era spaceship lands in the snow. Over in Ape World, Chuck and his crew land in the water. In each of these worlds, their gear reflects the times. Hugh Marlowe and the boys are all dressed in leather jackets and web belts holding hatchets and guns and canteens and such. Meanwhile, Chuck and company are all togged out in cool, slimline zip suits. In End World, we have Hugh Marlowe in the lead, but we're not really sure what he does. Rod Taylor calls him Skipper, which I guess it means he's the captain of the ship. Nelson Lee is the Doc. The Doc is the grandfather scientist who knows best. Rod Taylor, in one of his first screen appearances, is the lad about town or wherever he cares to take off his shirt. Actress Shawn Smith doesn't seem to mind, but some of his fellow players seem to have their backs up. Finally, we have Christopher Dark as Hank. Let's just call him Fredo. Not that he's stupid like Fredo, he's all kinds of irksome. Meanwhile, over in Ape World, it's pretty much all Chuck, and it's prime Chuck at that. Yeah, there are two other guys, but their real purpose is to help showcase Chuck's character, so they ain't gonna make it. In another universe, they'd be wearing red shirts. In End World, our boys soon discover a graveyard that tells them they're back home on Earth, even though it's in a time zone far, far away. While exploring a cave, our guys are attacked by a giant plush toy. A plush toy as big as a big dog. And it's got the Doc and Rod Taylor pinned to the cave floor. Hugh Marlowe shoots the plush toy in the head. Suddenly, another plush toy is pushed into view. A plush toy as big as a big dog. And Hugh lets him have it. Meanwhile, Fredo is caught in the plush toy's web. See what I mean? The primitive humans in Ape World are generally better looking than the mutants in End World. At least they have two eyes. In End World, the mutant thing is a bit hit and miss, as apparently some were not affected by the high radiation count that followed the big one. The bad mutants have one eye and are aggressive pack hunters. The good mutants look like they wandered in from I Was a Teenage Caveman. They're not exactly Eloy, but they're passive enough. Our heroes come upon an underground civilization that's made up of old men in tights and two Vargas girls. Alberto Vargas is listed as production designer. He's probably more famous for his Vargas girls, his paintings of semi-nude women that adorn the noses of many an American bomber in World War II. Men of my generation remember his work from the first perusals of Playboy magazine. His sets have a simple theatricality, and their use of primary colors may have influenced the later Star Trek TV series. They even have Alexa. At one point in the film, Rod Taylor actually utters the words murdering swine. I hadn't heard a good murdering swine like that since the days of Basil Rathbone and Sherlock Holmes. In Ape World, after being hunted down by gorillas on horseback, Chuck wakes up in Ape City and is quickly tossed into the zoo. In both films, the second act is made up mostly of council or courtroom scenes. They serve mainly as exposition dumps. Says that word again. Exposition. That's a fancy word. But there's trouble in Skullcap City as Maurice, a council member, who I always thought looked like Bob Hope, is jealous because Vargas girl Nancy Gates is attracted to you, Marlowe. This jacks him up a bit, and the next thing you know, he tries to frame our boys for murder. And they're about to be cast out, too, in essence, exiled to Bogeyland, when Nina, the half mutant, steps forward at the last minute. She saw the whole thing. Maurice runs for it, even running outside, but the mutants get him. Now, I know you think I'm being hard on old Fredo, and not without good reason. What with him getting caught in the plush toy's web and whining about his dead wife and kids all the time. But he comes up with the idea to make the bazooka, and that pretty much changes the balance of power in the brave new world we're trying to help these people make. Yeah, old Fredo did all right. In Ape World, things don't go so well for Chuck because he's in for a big shock, as most of us were. But in End World, it's just the beginning. Humanity climbs out of its hole in the ground, as you, Marlowe, so eloquently put it in the film, to build a brave new world. So in the end, I guess it's a small world after all. See you around the campus.